Hello, Fems. Happy Monday. I am so excited to be here. I actually took off 2 weeks and I missed all of our Fems so very much. It was good to recharge and renew a little bit, but I really missed all of you guys. So I'm so happy to be here and I'm so excited to kick off the year with this panel and this conversation. Today, we're going to talk about what the F just happened. And that was actually inspired by Tracy, one of our Fems and directors. She actually messaged me and I thought it's a great topic. Our intention today is to help you guys release 2020 and really prepare for a beautiful 2021 that supports you, that's got your back, and it's just going to be great for all of us. I just feel it. It feels already so much better than 2020. So today on our panel, we have three global femmes. We have Krista Carter, Candice Thomas, and Sarah Sparks. They are three of our spiritual experts, and I'm going to have them kind of share a little bit about what they do, and then we'll dive into the topic. If you're watching us live, we encourage you to follow along with the conversation. We'd love to hear your aha moments. Feel free to ask questions as well. And if you're watching this in the FemCity library months from now, feel free to also continue the conversation as well. One thing that I forgot to mention to our panelists is that if we, as we're sharing, mute ourselves, because something about this platform makes it wonky. So as you guys start sharing, I'll mute myself. I'm only doing that so that the sound quality is really great. But let's go ahead and dive in. Candice, can you share a little bit about who you are for femmes that do not know who you are?
Sure. I'm Candice Thomas. I'm an intuitive coach. And really, I use the word intuitive coach because I'm a psychic medium. I was born a psychic medium. But how I use my gift instead of giving predictions or talking to dead people, which I can do, is I show everyone how they can use their innate intuitive abilities to create the life that they want and the success that they want to have in their life.
Love that. Love that. Krista, let's hear a little bit about you.
I have been studying metaphysics since the 90s, the early 90s, in fact. So quite a while, off and on. And I channel angels. And that's what I do in a reading. And a lot of times it's extremely healing. I've had the experience of, not me, I'm just the messenger, but the angels coming in and healing things in my life and that of others just for being there in like 45 minutes. So that's what I do.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you guys. Like selfishly, I'm so excited that I'm here around you ladies. Sarah, share a little bit about yourself.
Ditto to Candice. So I'm a Midwest farm-raised, college-educated, former local government employee turned business owner who's no longer ashamed of her spiritual woo-woo-ness. So I allow spirit to speak through me. Angels sometimes come through. I just generally call it spirit. But then the reason why I'm here is to teach people how to listen to their own divine guidance, their own intuition, that sort of thing. So.
Love it. And so for those that are watching, you can see why I'm so excited about having this conversation with them. I think it's really important. I just got chills right now. I think it's really important for us to just come together collectively and help each other kind of close out last year and kind of get that energy going in this new direction. I won't say good direction or bad, just this new direction. So my first question to you guys, and we'll go Candice, Krista, and Sarah. What is your take, spiritually speaking, as to what happened in 2020? Because everyone's got their own narrative. I think it was a challenging year for everyone. I don't know anyone who wasn't like, oh, that was an easy year. Like everyone felt that. What's your take on why 2020 happened?
I feel like, and I guess I don't have a popular opinion. Maybe I do. We'll see. When I tune into what 2020 is about, it's really about every single person taking responsibility for their power. And so many times people will say, you know, if you're spiritual or in woo-woo circles, you hear all the time, your outside world is a reflection of what's happening inside. And that's true to a point, but there are also collective consciousness and things that we're born into and systems in place that haven't been fair or working for hardly anyone. And it's not just like government systems or family systems just overall. And all those things are breaking down, and it's going to be easier for people to do more of what they want. But when things break apart and fall away, it's chaotic and it's very painful. And there's definite grieving on all sorts of levels that people are going through. But I feel like what everyone had to do in 2020 was go inside and really look at, who am I? what do I really want? What am I really about? Because a lot of people have been following all the rules, all the things that we've been taught. This is the thing to do if you are a good person. This is the thing that you want to do if you are really devout to God or devout to spirit, if you're like spiritual. And still things fell apart for a lot of folks. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were good or bad. And I think that really rocked people to their core on top of the other things that they were experiencing. It really shook people up and destroyed the things they thought were their identity. And so it's because we're being called to take a real look at who we are and being willing to embrace our beliefs and having the courage to go after it. You know, like as a psychic medium, when I talk to people who are transitioned in the spirit world in the afterlife, the thing that they always say is, I wish I would have done what I really wanted to do. And I really think 2020 is just proof and evidence of we don't have, it really is every moment that we have on this planet an opportunity to go after what we want, because there's no guarantees for anything anyway, no matter how aligned you are with your path, no matter what you're doing. So not coming from a fear-based way, but I actually feel like 2020 was about uplifting everyone, but we've got to go through like breaking everything, kind of like spirit can't give us new things until we let go of what's in our hands, what's not working, if that makes sense. So that's how I viewed how 2020 went.
I love that. And you have some love that came through from Linda Babulik, another global member. Yes, Candice Thomas, I can align with what you are saying. And I was thinking about myself when I was listening to you share. I was thinking about myself at releasing, and I definitely found more alignment in those moments of like just, you know, chaos. I found a deeper alignment myself personally and business-wise too. So Krista, want to add anything to that?
I actually can just like, move. The more density there is around human beings, the less they can personally hear their guidance. And I just have to say that you must have worked through a lot, because the angels speak through those chills, Violet. And so you actually got a little angel kick or whisper. Congratulations. I'm sure you've done it before. And it was also at 3:33, I think. So I just noticed like they were really speaking in this particular time or on this platform to let people know that they're real. And I just did the January global reading that I'm getting ready to upload to YouTube. And 2020 was to remove density so people could hear. Like we had become so dense with grief from our crown chakra up that we couldn't get information in. So we all had to go through our form of grieving to remove that. And for 2021 to like what I got from my reading that I just did was that we have already shed most of the grief, and that it's going to get so much easier because we know how to do it now. Like we know how to hear that inner calling. I just, what Candice said, yes, and I'm just saying it in a different way. And I did all the signs at the end of that reading, and everybody's stuff is so powerful just for January. So hang in there, guys. Like this is the good stuff like that we get to experience now.
Love that. Love that. And you have more. Michelle said, love that, Candice. Totally agree. Krista, totally agree with what you were saying. I got now chills again on my right arm. So now I'm like, Sarah.
I have tears because, and you can't really see it because of the lighting, but I love how Spirit speaks through each and every single one of us, saying it in a different way, because there's millions of people on this planet that need to hear a message, but maybe the words that each of us are saying, but we're saying it in just a slightly different way so that other people could hear it. So what I receive from Spirit in general is the same, but I'll say it in my own way in case somebody else needs to hear it. So 2020 was about seeing things clearly. It brought to the surface what we needed to see and clear out so that we could love more, elevate, and integrate that love, peace, kindness, growth, and transformation in a transformation process. All of us here on this forum have experienced a spiritual transformation process. And Violet and I have talked about this before in another way, but it's kind of is sometimes not all that pretty. So when we begin to see clearly what is going on, and when those inherited emotions start coming to the surface, it is painful and sometimes difficult to release, because they are beliefs that we have had from generations to generations to generations. And in 2020, a layer of this energetic earth was released, revealing the truth of what was needing to be seen and heard. But the thing that gets one's energy messed up and kind of gunky and, oh, what the heck happened, is we try to decipher between what is the truth and what is our truth. And also what happened in 2020 is some of us plugged ourselves into something other than source, God, creator, spirit, divine guidance, whatever, for our source of well-being, financial well-being, physical well-being, our relationships. And when we plug ourselves into something other than source, whatever we call that, that's when our energies and things get messed up.
All right, so there's a lot of love that came through. I just want to share. So let me backtrack a little. So Linda says, woohoo for the good stuff, Krista. Michelle says, yes, Krista. Cassandra said, yes, my mantra for 2021 as a direct result of 2020 is I am clear. Love that. Nicole Bolden said, yes, all that you ladies are saying resonates with me. And Michelle said, 2020 really magnified everything. As you say, it brought everything to the surface, Sarah Sparks. I love that concept of clarity. Yes, I love that it's clarity and clear. My next question for you gals is, how can femmes close out the energy of 2020? And I want to add, you don't have to clear out the energy on the 31st, right? Because I think might be some anxiety with people that are like, oh my gosh, it's the 4th of January and I didn't close out, or I didn't like celebrate, or I didn't like this, and I have all these energies still lingering. So my question that I'm asking really comes from that place of like, when we go to close it out, whatever it is, whether it's today or tomorrow or next week, how can they close out that energy that no longer serves them to create new energy for 2021? And we'll go Candice, Krista, and Sarah.
First of all, I feel like I love what everyone had to say. I will answer this question, but I just have to say, like, Krista and Sarah, I'm so honored when you guys were speaking, like Chills City. And I'm glad I'm muted, because I would have just interrupted and be like, oh my God, chills, like with everything you guys were saying. And I really want to point out that all of our messages, it was different, but saying the same thing. And I feel like an answer to how to let go of 2020, it's not just 2020 that people are letting go of, it's everything up through 2020. And one of the ways to do that is just to have mercy on yourself and have grace. And something that came through with how to release everything that's been happening up through 2020 is just to, again, it's like some people might need to forgive themselves or let go of whatever pressure they're putting on them to be something. Like, this is not the time for comparison. This is not the time to go, oh, well, because there were tons of people who I saw messages from who were crushing it in 2020. It was like their best year ever. And they're hitting it hard with the, like, let's grind, no days off already on the 4th of January, you know? And so I'm already seeing people holding themselves to someone else's standards. And so when Sarah just said, you know, who are you plugging into? Are you plugging into that divine source presence? Or are you plugging into someone else and comparing yourself? That will just hold you in that same old energy. So I think to let go of everything that's been happening, it's just to be super present with it. And I know there are tons of exercises. There's not just one thing that you can do, but just starting with, what is it that's actually going on with you? What else do you need to grieve and let go of emotionally, rather than just pushing it away and trying to be positive or trying to do affirmations? That's important too, but really connecting with what's going on with you. And then you will naturally be attracted and drawn to the services, the programs, the people who can help you overcome those things. So that's one way to let go of 2020.
I love that. And as I'm listening to the three of you, it's funny, I have 3 spiritual advisors that have helped me over the last decade plus. And it's interesting, they all say the same things to me in different words. And I capture, it's funny, I'll listen to that and then I'm like, oh my gosh, they just all said the same thing, but in different words. So it hit me in different times. So I love that you guys literally shared the same, but in your own vibes. And I'm assuming that people are connecting with certain words that each of you used based on, like, I think Sarah said that, based on the way it's connecting with them with the one word or a trigger or So I find that so fascinating, kind of on the side. Just wanted to add that. So, Krista?
I couldn't possibly piggyback any better on what Candice said. And this, again, just came out of the reading I just did, in that because we remove that density, there are a number of new ideas. So we've been through the grief process that Candice has discussed. Many people had no choice but to sit home and grieve. And now they're ready for some tools. And there's lots of new things that, in what many people are calling the age of air, because we're operating, instead of in person, across the air today and elsewhere. There are new ideas like the tipping point that are popping through to heal people faster and stronger. And this is all coming from the divine, from the angels. They're like, you finally got the density out of the way. And there are some people who are revealing things that medically, psychologically, and so forth. You know what? If something pops in your live stream on YouTube, go watch it if it's calling to you, because that may be one of those new things. I actually had that happen for a medical issue that was long standing. And I know it's because we've cleared density and somebody was able to get their stuff out and it reached me. It attracted me. So piggybacking on what Candice said, yes, we've done a lot of the grief, and you've got this gorgeous opportunity to attract the exact thing that will up-level you for 2021. And there I'm going to leave it to Sarah, but it's a gorgeous time.
I'm talking and I have myself on mute. Like they can't hear me. Michelle, I just want to add some love that came through a Facebook user. I don't know. I can't see the name. It says, I am enough. And it had some hearts to that, which is perfect. And Michelle said, thanks for clarifying that we don't need to clear it out all on December 31st. And I think that creates its own level of anxiety. You know, like you have to do all this stuff and you have to have a great time and all these things on the 31st. But I'm so glad that we shared that, because it's really about your own timing and doing it, much like all of the panels have said, in your own way, what feels right for you. Sarah, anything you want to add?
I had something prepared, and it's key as you are letting go of 2020, of the past, of whatnot, I want to point out something that we can feel, and I want it to transmit to those who are also watching. The amount of love, the highest vibration that's coming through each and every single one of us on this panel now, that's key to plugging into, so you can no longer connect to what is no longer serving you. So if you're continually looking back at what is not serving you, then you're plugging into that. Instead, plug into groups like this, plug into, teachers and spiritual connectors like ourselves, spiritual directors, good channelers, whatever you want to call it, because then you're creating a new energy for 2021. But also just decide to release them. I have ways to move forward Wednesdays in the Woman Up spiritual community that I lead, and Spirit's like, what I was like, Spirit, what's a way to move forward? And Spirit's like, decide to. and I was like, all right. and just ask yourself a couple of questions when you're trying to close out the energy. Is, am I done suffering? And if the answer is yes, then ask yourself, am I dedicated to living? Then feel into those like these next questions of, what does it feel like when I am living? Like capital LIVING. What am I experiencing when I'm living? And how do I feel when I am living? So no, we're not connecting to and talking about just releasing, but what are you focusing on? Kind of like what Krista is saying, is focusing on what and calling in what it is that you really want. Which I think leads very well into your next question.
I was going to say, I was like, yeah. So the reason why I'm going to ask this next question is because I think so many femmes are still looking at 2020 and all the perspective is all the missed opportunities, all the things that went wrong, a sense of mourning, right? That they're still looking at last year and trying to get over it, I guess, in many ways. Listen, like Candice started at the beginning, it's messy, right? Like evolution, a soulful evolution is not like, okay, I read this book and ta-da, like I'm now better, I'm my best human. And it is always awful and dirty. And from that, I've always shared in my darkest moments, that is where my true growth has always happened. Like beauty is always in that space. So I'm asking you guys this question with all that kind of feel, is that for those that are still kind of emotionally mourning 2020 and looking back at the what if and how much I lost and that whole entire kind of spiraling down of negativity, but they really are still suffering in their minds, what would you say to them as far as advice, and how do they stop the mourning? And I know Sarah just touched upon this, but how do you stop all that so that you could move forward energetically and spiritually? Candice, Krista, and Sarah.
I think it depends, because if you aren't finished grieving, you need to finish grieving, right? And there's a difference if you're between genuine grieving and then when you're in that place where you're just really afraid and it looks like no matter what you do, you're just going to be stuck, which is it's like wallowing, which is a different energy, but no one outside of you can tell you that, like, unless you like talk to someone who can like tune in like us. But even then, no one can tell you about yourself more than you, like you are your ultimate authority and your connection to the divine presence. But I think even in those moments, this is also a time when people really need each other. As Krista was saying, there are no coincidences. So if something crosses your path and you're drawn to it, that can be one way to open yourself up to something. The hit I'm being guided to say also is, if your life fell apart and it's a hot mess right now, this is like the best time to be a hot mess, because it's happening to everybody. Like everybody can relate to you. Everybody can understand it. And if you are out there thinking that it's just you and you're by yourself and you're alone, and if you are just a little bit better, a little bit smarter, or more, that's more the comparison thing. I think the subtle comparisons are keeping people stuck. Like, I should have done this, I should be doing that, when you don't have to rush, as you said. I think the other day that people were freaking out about was December 22nd. Like, people saw some messages after December 22nd. Like, I missed the day that was going to change my life because I was supposed to have meditated or connected or whatever on the 22nd. None of that stuff matters. That's all linear mental thinking. When you really start connecting to your spiritual power, your truth, your inner self, like the energy comes through and it helps shift everything mentally and all of that stuff as well. So it's not, we don't have to be so hard with, I need to write down all of my intentions. And by the way, someone corrected me a couple years ago when I was like, oh, I'm just trying to get good intentions. And they were like, no, you don't need intentions. You do need to make decisions, because the decision is, I'm deciding to do something. And intention is like, well, there's an intent, but it may or may not. It's almost like hope. There's nothing wrong with those vibrations, but to be very clear about, I would like something else. And sometimes just acknowledging, I don't want to be this way, this sucks, and I want something else, and I'm going to have something else, making that decision without having to burden yourself with, well, how do I do that? Like, the how is part of what Spirit is helping everyone out with, just deciding. But if you can't do that, like, again, it's just so tricky because everyone is so different with where they're at with grieving. So it's like, have extra grace and care for yourself, as if like, what would you say? And there were people who died for folks. People lost a lot of loved ones. So would you tell that person to hurry up and get over it? And like, no, you wouldn't. That would be barbaric and inhumane. So where can you give yourself a little bit more grace and space? You're not going to miss anything. For a lot of people, things are still up in the air and still very challenging. It's reach out to folks if you can. And like, we're here on the panel. So if there's one of us that you really resonate with, you don't feel like you have anyone to reach out to. I mean, I feel like, and I'm making an assumption, you guys can correct if it's not for you, but like, reach out if you're feeling called or connected. Like, pay attention to the things that are grabbing your attention, as Krista said. So that's my little bit of advice there.
Love that. Love that. And you have more love that came through. Nicole said, oh, yes. Am I done suffering? Am I ready to live? Powerful questions. Krista, to you, what would you say? What advice would you give to that femme or those femmes?
Once again, I couldn't piggyback better off of Candice. I was just thinking, this is a time that I think making sure that we are connecting with the divine every single day, and at whatever way we know how. For some people, it's music. For me, it's outright prayer. I want it to come through me. And then you get the clarity of how to move forward. You are moving forward simply by doing what you're supposed to do here spiritually. And if you're connecting with the divine, let go of what you couldn't do in 2020 and say, I got it. Because that's what the divine really wants from us. They want us hearing from them and getting that information. And like Candice said, here's a panel of people who do it in a myriad of ways if you're struggling. And Violette got it because she just channeled 2 times among us. So there, I'm gonna leave it to Sarah. But
Thank you, Krista. Sarah?
Well, when I think about this question, my first thoughts were, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that for those who are for you feeling that way, that just totally sinks. And then second, here's also what I know, that you're way too amazing and limitless and freaking awesome to hold yourself back, make yourself stuck in what was or should have been. And do not make yourself suffer. You're too important in this future of creating this world to be your truest, best self. Spirit, God, creator, you were placed on this earth to be. I feel like a lot of 2020 was letting go of the doing and truly stepping into the being of who you truly are at a soul level. And so you're so loved, like so loved. So let go of what should have been to step into what is already coming to you now.
Love that. More love came through. So Patty mentioned, decisions, not intentions. And then Terry Dean, such wise women and such wise words. All right. So speaking of femmes reaching out to you, ladies, how can femmes find you? Candice, for femmes that want to reach out and learn more about the work that you're doing, what's the best way?
Right now, I would hit up my Instagram, which is Candice Intuitive, and Candice Intuitive, all together. And if you check my link tree there, I have a meditation for the new year, which helps people boost their intuition. You can just go, and it's about the energy. It's not a whole lot of asking questions because that's too mental. Just getting into the energy, as we've said on this panel today. And then I also have other things that people can download to just kind of jumpstart. Here's how you get dialed in and stay connected.
Krista?
Angel Manifestations. You can find that on YouTube, and you can find that on my website. But YouTube, I try to do something at least once a week that I'm channeling the global information, and then for each astrological sign, how they're feeling within that and what might help them. So you can just go out to Angel Manifestations on YouTube and see the things that I've offered since March that have talked about this and give you some feedback about how it's impacting you personally. So, and if you're interested in learning about my readings, that's on my website. So angelmanifestations.com.
Wonderful. I actually wrote that down. I'm going to check it out later. Sarah.
Spirit just wants me to share that the time is now to align with love, prosperity, abundance, and community. The time is now because you are whoever ustedes form, you are unlimited. You are limitless. You have limitless power to level up, to lead with your soul, to listen to your divine guidance. I can help you tap into that. And you can connect with me on www.sarahsparks.love, sarahsparks.love. And you can just click on the connect with us, fill out the form, and let's chat. There's also forms on there to receive the free guide on how to listen to your own divine guidance. So thank you.
This was amazing. For those that are watching in the library later on, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We hope, I hate to say the word intention, but our intention was to help you get started with 2021. And if there's anything that we can do more for you, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. And obviously, we're all obsessed about community, each one of us. So anyway, thank you so much, ladies. This was wonderful. And we will be back next Monday as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.